Welcome back to Tool School. Tool School, it's kind of a mouthful, right? This is part 2 in our series on seam rippers, and today I'm going to show you a little bit of how to use a few of the various seam rippers and really what to think about when you're ripping your fabric. Something I might know a little bit about. So anyhow, these rippers here that have the pointy edge that look, pretty standard, these are pickers. Here's a retractable one I showed you earlier. These are pickers, and that means you pick the thread from the outside. This is the picking, okay? Rippers such as the Havel Surge Seam Ripper or the Kai Ripper, those are internal rippers, which means you are going to be ripping from the inside of the fabric, from inside the two seams. So there are different ways to use them. I want to go back and tell you that, again, find the seam ripper that works for you. You want it to feel good in your hand. Well, these are really clever and retract. Those are kind of cool. I don't find these blades to be sharp, as I said. This Fons and Porter ripper feels good in my hand. This is a go-to ripper for me. I like it. I like that it's sharp, but it's a bit bulky for a lot of people, but I happen to like it. Today, I'm just going to show you how to pick using the Clover ripper. So let me show you how to pick a seam out. One of the things you want to think about when picking out your seams is you don't want to stress this edge. That's most important. You don't want to do a lot of pulling and twisting and stretching that edge. That's most important. So with a picker, what you do is you are literally just going to pick. And you're going to put your ripper down and you're going to pick every 4 stitches, maybe every 3 stitches. And you're just going to do that throughout your seam here. This ripper right here, just gonna keep picking. It's not necessary to pick every seam. Oops, I've got my ripper. This thread seam has really sunk into the fabric, making it a little challenging. Now once you have your thread picked, it's easy to want to just pull this apart. You don't really want to do that. What you want to do is you want to grab the thread, which happens to be a white thread, from the back, and you want to see that it's loose, and you just want to pull it out. That's what you want to do. That opens your seam, eliminates that stretching that might happen when you pull it. Now, here's this little knobby thing, this little rubber knobby thing that comes on some of the rippers, which I really love, because this is what it's meant for. It's meant to pull up those little threads, and it does a really great job at it. Just sort of pulls that up. There we go. And voila, you've got a nice clean seam. It looks perfect. Nothing's stretched, nothing is damaged, and you can re-sew that seam for yourself. The next seam ripper I want to show you how to use are these these sharp surgical looking rippers. Let's start with the Kai ripper. This Kai ripper is really pretty cool. It's got a pretty sharp blade, they're serrated edges, and it grabs that thread. So as I said, it's an internal ripper. So you are going to sit this internally between those two seams, and you're just going to make this motion, this cutting motion like this. I'm barely lifting the fabric to cut those threads, and voila, I've cut my seams. Once again, quick, easy to do. I like this Kai ripper a lot. They've done a nice job with that. This surgical ripper can be used a little both ways. It can act as a picker as well, picking out. The challenge with that is this blade is really sharp, and you might have a tendency to actually cut your fabric. You can also use it internally, again, just sort of ripping from the inside, but again, the blade's sharp, so you want to be really careful about ripping the threads. But this cuts like a dream. This is really a great ripper as well. I like that. I like the fact that it comes with replacement blades so that when you do need to replace the blades, it does get dull. You've got a blade pack there, and you've got a nice little cover for the blade to keep that from cutting you, because that thing is a little bit dangerous. The funnest one I really like, and people inquire about a bit, is this electric seam ripper. This is a cool little tool. It's actually, I think, a little shaving tool, but it has a blade guard that you take off, snaps off. It's got the little on-off switch. Makes that little noise. And the best way to use this ripper, I'm gonna just use this fabric here, is to put it face down, the blades face down. It's not going to cut your fabric. You're going to turn it on, and you're just going to cut away. Pull that, and away it goes. Voila, just cuts those seams. One of the benefits of this ripper is it's really great for arthritic hands. So if you don't want to make that motion of holding your fabric and cutting and it's hard on your fingers, this ripper is the way to go because it really makes fast work of those long seams if you have long seams to cut. I like that a lot. So those are our tips about the different rippers, how to use them. Remember, make sure it fits your hand, make sure it's sharp, and hopefully you don't have to use it too often. Thanks for listening.